Hey, this is me, Marvin Lee, and I just finished watching Buffy, an episode from the last season, which is conversations with dead people, and it basically was about Dawn, that character Willow, and Buffy, all women, um, and having conversation with people who are dead. Buffy ends up speaking with this dude she went to school with who happened to become a vampire. Willow speaks with a girl that actually had died earlier on in the season, and but as a victim, and she comes back to speak to Willow about Tara, which we all know what Tara's thing is, her connection to Willow, and then Dawn somehow ends up speaking with her mom briefly, um, because her mom is dead, been dead for like 2 seasons now, or a season and a half by this point in time. It's so weird because I watched season two the other day. I believe it's called Surprise and Innocence. I watched those episodes yesterday, and then to go fast forward on to the seventh season, and it's just so weird because you can just see how much everyone's changed. There's a lot of change. People just their looks have changed. Sometimes their demeanor has changed, um, and just everybody's just like in a different place than where they were, especially Buffy, and Willow. Those characters, well, mainly Willow. Willow's character has changed a lot from where she started a couple seasons ago. Buffy, as a character, hasn't really changed that much. She's kind of like the one stable character, just kind of like stays about the same throughout the bulk of the series. She just ends up going through more and more stuff, and just kind of becomes more hardened. I think through the series because and just matures into a woman, or so a somewhat kind of a woman child because she's only like 20 something. She goes from like 16 to her early 20s in the series, and you can see how she's look, especially when you go back and watch season two, and you come back and watch season seven. You realize her looks have changed a little bit too, because she looks a bit older now, as she should for her age, and they're all still great looking, especially Allison Hannigan. She really looks beautiful. You kind of it's even like brief moments you can kind of tell she almost looks prettier than Buffy does. So a lot sometimes you're like, well, actually, I think she's actually And Summer Regular, she's obviously a beautiful woman. She is, and I know a lot of times they try to like unpretty, Allison Hannigan, even though she actually really is a pretty girl. I know they try to like play down her looks, so that way Buffy, Summer Regular can shine more that character can. Um, but yeah, just it was interesting, and one of the things that kind of got me, and always kind of gives me like what's really interesting about this particular episode to me is really Buffy's storyline because she ends up meeting this dude who she just goes to school with, who's now a vampire, and he ends up being like he's like a psych major or something. And so he actually is like psychoanalyzing Buffy. And Buffy ends up kind of saying stuff and revealing stuff about herself that she hadn't really ever had an opportunity to really say out loud, or to really take time and just really stop and think about, okay, all this stuff that's happened to her since she's been a Slayer, especially after the previous season, and how like why she has such an issue with relationships. And I just revealed that her dad cheated on her mom, which we didn't really know that. We know they had a divorce, but I didn't know that part of it had happened. Um, and how Buffy just kind of feels alone. She really does feel alone. She's Slayer, and she admits some two things, which I kind of felt like I kind of related to too. Which about sometimes how she feels she's like beneath her friends, um, like she doesn't really deserve their love and stuff like that. And I feel like that's just the way I kind of feel like I treat people, and how I just interact with them. Sometimes I feel like I'm really beneath my friends and family in a lot of ways. I really don't deserve the amount of affection I get aimed towards me. And then also in other times, I kind of feel like due to my supreme creativity I have and just all the things I can do, I almost feel kind of superior to them too. And it's mainly because you feel so alone. Because whenever you're a person who has really unique talent or something, just like not everyone around you has, there's it just kind of, and especially when you just feel like the only one, there does kind of become like this it's kind of easy to become feel like superior towards the people around you if you're the only person that can do what it is that you do, and you do it on such a different level than everyone else does. um and so I relate to that kind of, and it just kind of hit me a certain way, and I am guilty of sometimes over what's the word I'm looking for, over identifying with TV characters. I'm guilty of that, but I kind of related to that point because you just know that you got something unique about you, just something that's so definitive that you can't easily point out a similar person around you for it. Because you really are the only one. You feel like you are the chosen one. It's a very unique spot to be, a position to be put into, and you feel alone. Just in general, and there's nothing you can do about that. Just how kind of things are. So this is me, Marvin. I'm done. I need to go to bed.